So long story short, I've been married to my wife for 11 years. We have two kids aged 11 and 9. She cheated for 8 months, and I knew about it for the last 3. Okay, cities. I didn't confront her until I had evidence lined up, including video and a separation agreement in hand from a sealed lawyer. This was about 9 months ago. I guess it would be called D-Day. I waited for her to get home from her affairs partner app. She had no idea that I knew anything. The second she saw me sitting at the table, she got very nervous. I asked her to sit down because we needed to talk. I was totally cried out at this point and didn't really care. I had decided that divorce was the only option the day I first found out. My wife sides down looking very panicked. She said, "You're scaring me. What is this about?" I then said, "I'm not here to discuss your infidelity. I know everything. I'm here to sort out our separation and divorce." I put my wedding ring on top of the folder with the separation agreement inside and pushed it in front of her. My wife starts bawling, begging, apologizing, pleading, all the usual stuff. I get nowhere. I just toss whatever she comes up with back in her face and say, "I love you." I then told her, "You hurt me the worst I have ever been hurt, and you slept with other men because you love me so much." After a couple of hours, I told her to go to a hotel and that we will continue tomorrow. I tell her if she doesn't sign the separation agreement, I will tell everyone today what she has been doing. I know it's signed under duress, but at the time I just wanted it to end. She ends up signing, she leaves, and I receive messages and calls all night. I answer occasionally in one-word responses. Mainly, "I will not read this message or talk to you until tomorrow afternoon." The next day, the severity of the situation sunk in with her. She begs for another chance, marriage counseling, MC, etc., saying she will do anything. He informed her that I would file on Monday and that she had 90 days to convince me that divorce is a mistake. I don't know why I offered that. I was weak. A divorce that even sees. The next day, I had prepared a list of things she had to do. I didn't show it to her. I just told her the list existed, and unless she abided by it, we would be no contact and see, apart from the kids, and the divorce would be unstoppable. I would inform everyone of what she had been doing. I also informed her that even perfect compliance was no guarantee that we would not divorce. My trust in her at this point was below zero, and I didn't even love her anymore. She killed what we had, and the only reason I considered reconciling and building something new was for our kids. To say this again, I couldn't follow through on what I had decided to do. The list consisted of the following: no lies. She had to make a document of everything she had done with him, describe how it started, what in her mind gave her the right to do this to me and our children. If she cut corners, rose-tinted anything, or omitted anything, all efforts on my part would be over. The full access to all social media, phones, computer, her salary, and bank statements. She would report where she is and what she does at all times. For individual counseling, I see for her 2 to 3 times a week until she could understand her own choices. Watched only later McCove, She agreed, made the list, and gave me access. Then I told her about points 5, 6, 7 in sequence, only after she carried out each task. She had to meet App's wife face to face and tell her everything, hand out all the evidence she had, and offer to be a witness in court if needed. She refused at first. She managed to say she couldn't do that to him. I pointed out that she made a choice. Keeps feelings over her own family. If she didn't do this, the reconciliation attempt was over. I was going to tell App's wife if she didn't. If she wouldn't own this, there was no willingness from my end. If I had to tell her, there would be no chance of ever reconciling. In the end, she agreed and actually told Ape's wife everything. App's wife slapped her, kicked her, pulled her hair, and screamed at her. My wife took it and didn't fight back. I didn't protect her. She got some gashes and some bald spots. Up in the car afterward, I informed her that AP had been seeing another woman in addition to my wife and showed her the evidence from the PI I hired. I'm ashamed of how much I enjoyed watching her pain when she realized she was just another piece of meat to this guy. She had to explain herself to the kids and what the likely outcome for our family would be. Explain what she had done to everyone in our family and our friends. I would have an affair for 3 months. I would lie to her face, sneak around behind her back, form a deep emotional relationship with another woman. I needed her to understand what she asked me to forgive, the humiliation, the pain. She would understand that we risked me falling in love and leaving her for my app. Number 7 was especially hard on both of us. I would sneak around and act like I was cheating. I had Tinder installed. I would make sure she got glimpses of it every now and again. I would pretend I was secretly texting. I would go out and be gone all night. I would go away for weekends. In reality, I wasn't seeing anyone. I just stayed in hotels, rented cabins, and Airbnbs. I would just get drunk most of the time and cry. My wife was freaking out more and more. I felt terrible as well. I hated it. I could barely do it, and it was only pretending. She did it with such ease. I think this is the hardest part for me. I can't see her in the same light. I wanted to show her what she asked me to forgive, but instead I learned what a horrible person you have to be to do this to someone else. We are now in Mixie and she is making progress, but I'm not so much. Some days are worse than others, I guess. For now, I keep the divorce papers ready. For some reason, I've not pulled the trigger. I'm not entirely sure why. We haven't been intimate or very close, but we are not fighting anymore, so I guess that is progress. She is very apologetic. I know we have a long way to go. Who knows where we will end up? I can't get past how terrible I felt when I pretended, yet she did it with ease. I just can't see her in a positive light. I see her as a monster. I wish I had ended it the first day, but now that I have dragged us both so far along, is there any way for me to move past seeing her like this? I have forgiven the rest. I just can't get past this. We are very grateful that we have told them and kept them involved in our efforts. As my youngest put it, they are my family too. out there have more faith in us than we have, and they are grateful that we ask for their advice and opinions. We have been very careful to let them know we will not accept them choosing sides. We have also been very clear that none of this is their responsibility or fault. They have told us they like being involved and helping us together and as individuals. They will dish out encouraging words and extra hugs when they feel we need it. They accept that this might not be possible to fix, but they have told us that they will be disappointed if we give up without trying properly. The first few months were very stressful, but after things calmed down, they are very grateful for being allowed to be involved. Some of their friends are in situations where their families are breaking up, and their friends feel like they are kept in the dark and fed crap. So our kids are better off than us, it seems, and I just hope we don't disappoint them too much. To those who thought I was psychotic and wondered how I could be so hard and torture my wife while offering reconciliation, I wanted to clarify that on D-Day. I had no intention of offering anything. I was determined to just end it as soon as possible. I was still determined to do so when she came back the next day, when she offered to do anything and begged me to give her a chance. At that point, I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave her. I felt weak. I was ashamed of myself. I was angry and I wanted her to suffer. But deep down, I still loved her. I just couldn't admit it or end it. I took some thinking time, made the list, and made my demands. I never in my wildest dreams expected her to agree to the toughest terms. I did not expect her to tell the ape's wife. I did not expect her to tell her kids, families, and friends, and I definitely didn't expect her to stand by me in my pretend revenge affair. As truth be told, I wanted her to give up, but I also wanted her to suffer. I was convinced that her suffering would make me feel better. It didn't, but as she did everything I asked, I could no longer deny that she was being sincere, that she wanted to work things out, that she was regretful for what she had done. She has been putting everything she can into reconciling. I must sadly admit I have not. I have been searching for some reason to give up and leave or to make her give up and leave. I have been incredibly cruel at times. I have vented my fury at her, and I am a terrifying guy. She has just taken it. She doesn't try to excuse herself. She just takes it. She told me she has never been afraid of me. I'm not sure I believe that. She tells me she knows I would never physically attack or hurt her. I'm not so sure of myself. I've been pretty close a few times. I hope I never ever pass that line. I'm terrified. I might permanently injure or kill someone. To those who asked about her reasons for reconciliation, her reasons for doing it were that she felt stagnant and trapped in our life, which was too safe and comfortable. It hit her hard after her best friend died, and she was vulnerable to a snake charmer who knew exactly what type of bullshit to blow up her ass. She feels constrained now and struggles badly with reconciling her choices with the person she believed herself to be. We have learned that this was a pattern with her AP. He had been cheating on his wife with 2 to 3 women at the time, since before they started dating. We even found out he has 2 illegitimate sons. As for me, I'm not really committed to reconciliation fully. I'm a very hard person. I can take and dish out punishment. I managed to convince myself that if my wife suffered, I would be okay with just walking away if I found a good enough reason to give up. I was wrong. I have been searching for reasons to not get close to her again. I was, and I still am, deeply wounded. I was scared of letting her get close and getting hurt again, which has prevented us from making any real progress in reconciling. She's been the only one totally committed. Several people asked me if I am just as good at giving out love as I am at punishment, and the answer to that is no, but I'm working on it now. Actually, Trekorch, I have forgiven her, but I have kept her distant while trying to find a reason strong enough to overcome my love for her so I could leave. I will change that and make a real, genuine effort to reconcile. If we fail, we fail, but I will give it my very best try from here on in, even if I risk getting hurt again. A lot of people condemned my wife. Some people pointed out that she is just human and made some bad choices. As things are now, I'm in charge of the consequences for her bad choices, a role I don't want. I have thought about this a lot. I also make mistakes. I act irrationally, and I am very cruel to her at times. Punishing her has driven me literally mad with hatred and anger. Sometimes I have no control over it. She made some bad choices and lost control, as I am still doing. We are just human, both of us. I need to work on ways to move past this together. I will get off my high horse and try to be 50 of this relationship, and to be 50 of the effort trying to work it out. As for my wife, the day after D-Day, she had accepted that I was dead serious. There was nowhere to hide, no forgiveness, nothing. She knew that her chances to save her family were slim at best, but she would do anything to try. It's clear now that she never actually loved the app. She loved the thrill, the fantasy. She told me she is grateful for my ironclad, rock-hard approach. It ripped her out of the affair fog, smacked some sense into her, and got her focused front and center on what was important. She also felt that her punishment was justified, and it helped her not to repeat her mistakes again. And it helped her not to hate herself as much. She has thanked me so much for not letting her off the hook and pushing through. She's punishing herself harder than I ever did. She has contemplated ending herself, but she didn't do it at the time because she felt she would get off too easily. I found out that she's been harming herself since D-Day. She's beaten herself and pinched herself with pliers. I mean, the entire backside of her leg is shades of purple. This is, of course, not helpful. We have agreed to focus on her forgiving herself. We cannot heal unless that happens. In a way, it's strange. Now that she just wants to punish herself, she's lost all the traits that I fell in love with in the first place. Her humor, smile, well-thought-out opinions, self-esteem, her loving patience, etc. I don't think it's helpful for me to redevelop any feelings towards her when her punishing herself suppresses the very things I loved about her. The reasons I got together with her and married her in the first place. So, all in all, we have made some progress thanks to all the helpful strangers on the internet. military, white your Christian, we have a long way to go, but we have identified some big hurdles to get past. We actually slept in the same bed for the first time since day, so there is that. It was nice to sleep next to her again. I still love her, and I kind of hate myself for it, but then I think about my kids and it gives me strength to keep at it. We will try to create something new since the old relationship is gone at this point. After D-Day, I put my wife through hell and became her personal mental torturer for 9 months until I snapped out of it not too long ago. I was looking for any excuse during all those months to not fully commit to reconciliation. My wife was the only one who put in 100 after B-Day. I loved her and couldn't leave, but my perceived self-respect and my idea of who I was prevented me from accepting that. I tried so many ways to convince myself that the only right thing to do was to leave her, but I just couldn't. My cruelty on top of her infidelity caused great damage to both of us emotionally. I finally came to my senses and understood what I needed to do to start healing both of us. I realized where I was weak and needed to improve. I know our chances are low, but now I am afraid I've caused too much damage to get past. My wife feels that she doesn't deserve love and consideration whenever I do something for her, like leaving her flowers from the garden or love notes to show my appreciation. She usually ends up crying. The last few weeks we have made a lot of progress, and things on the surface seem to be improving. But today I found my wife hiding and crying alone. She was appreciative and smiling in the morning. I made her breakfast in bed, but I found her crying after that. It just took all my motivation away, like popping a balloon. I feel totally demotivated. I feel totally empty, like all our efforts are for nothing. I don't feel anything other than exhausted and empty, totally empty. Now I am in bed and I don't even know how to get back up. I don't know how to find any energy to get moving to try again. I can't even interact with my children properly. I just feel empty. So we are separated. We were doing well on reconciliation. My wife did pretty much everything right from her end. She struggles with forgiving herself, basically hating her own guts. On the other hand, I managed to suppress my feelings for a while. And this is the problem. Right under the surface, my feelings were still boiling. Appellation, betrayal, lies, humiliation, anger, all boiling right under the surface. As a result, I reverted back to being mean, vindictive, and angry. And I don't want to be that guy anymore. So we have separated to get some space. We will try to get back to trying reconciliation later for the sake of the kids. So that's the status. Sometimes it's not possible to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. I'm not hopeful that we will make it in the end. Maybe it is time to let go. This is not healthy. Please do not stay for the kids. Children are smart and will notice everything around them as they grow up. I'm sure they would prefer parents who are separated and happy rather than parents who stay together and feel the air of being forced or self-hatred. The past cannot be changed, just the future. Do you really want to put the kids through years of an on and off relationship with both parents, or have them feel hostility towards each other, or towards themselves every time the memory of the betrayal arises? Please, for the sake of everyone's sanity, the best thing to do sometimes is to let go. Let's build a good co-parenting system and let the kids know that they are still loved. I'm so sorry about this, and I know you and the kids never deserved any of this.